What's up, guys? Captain Taste here, back with another video, and today we're going to review probably one of the best things I bought all year.
It went from controversy to near perfect. The MacBook 16-inch Pro is something that content creators will love, even at the base level.
How'd they go from controversy? What was controversial about it?
The 15-inch that came out the previous year, the previous model, had overheating problems and also keyboard design faulty.
It was garbage.
Yeah, it was garbage.
It was garbage for like 4 years. It had that butterfly switch, and they fixed it. It's not the best keyboard, but it's a good keyboard.
Yeah.
But let's start with the design, which everybody is familiar with at this point. It's your, it's a Mac. If you have a MacBook, you know what you're getting. It's basically identical to last year's model.
Even the year before that, they haven't changed the design in a very long time. I think if anything, it's just they try to slim it down, but this year they've totally listened to the people and switched it around.
It's a bit thicker, and it has a purpose though. It's because it has a bigger battery. Aside from that, 4 ports, 4 USB-Cs, so you're living that dongle life again. And
also the headphone jack.
And it has a headphone jack, thank you for that. Has a gigantic trackpad, very good for content creating and for navigating through Mac OS. But yeah, you're getting your there's not much to say about the design. If you ever owned a Mac or you've seen a Mac, it's a Mac.
But what specifically stand out? Did you find any cons in the design?
Yes, one, and it's petty, but the cutout to open the display, it's a little bit too small for me. It has very sharp edges, and the way my thumb naturally falls on the trackpad, my thumb falls on that sharp edge. It's a petty complaint, but I just wish that they would take a filer and just smooth it down, or make the cutout a little bit wider, at least about the size of the trackpad, or a little bit smaller than the trackpad. But other than that, it's probably the best built laptop on the market. Now let's talk about the biggest change about this laptop this year, which is that display.
Yeah, there's a lot of real estate, a lot that you could work with. It's good. I like that they're trying to go with the edge to edge, well, as close to the edge as possible.
I'm a person that I love working with dual monitors, and with this laptop, I didn't feel like I needed 2 monitors. It's still nice to use them, but I felt like it was enough real estate. Like when I'm doing anything, Final Cut Pro, documents, surfing the web, texting, like I felt like I had enough space for everything here. So it's nice to have an edge-to-edge 16-inch display on this laptop.
Yeah, they definitely packed in more pixels, making it look more brighter and raising up the resolution, right?
Yeah, it's not quite 4K. It's a little bit under, but it's still really sharp. It's really good. The colors are really nice. They're vibrant. They're great for content creators. Like, this laptop is built for content creators. Aside from some minor omissions that I don't know why they don't have them in, like the SD card slot, this laptop is a workhorse.
Yeah, when it comes to ports, I don't understand why they don't add them. Like, I understand they're probably making money off of these dongles, but as a person that is always on the go, and especially if you're a content creator, you might forget the dongle, and that's a bad situation right there. I would prefer for my computer to have my SD card slot, my USB-A, my USB-C available to me at all times, not that I have to buy an extra port. But Apple has been listening, so maybe they'll add it to future models.
It would make sense because they made the laptop a little bit thicker, so I thought they would add these ports in, but I guess, these speakers though, man, you can throw a party with them. I'm not even joking, you can throw a party with these speakers. You can blast these things and really jam to them. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I can't describe to you guys how good these speakers sounds. I could put them up on the mic if you want. We might do that, but it's you have to just listen to it for yourself. It's just so good.
It's way different. It's a different experience when you hear it yourself there in person. It's really
if you ever go to the Apple Store or to a Best Buy, forget about disturbing the peace. Blast these things and hear them for yourselves because they're so good. All right, so another big change they made, or not a big change, but they went back to the Scissor Switch keyboard, which is light years better than the butterfly switches, which were butterfly switches basically felt like you were typing on a flat surface. There was no feedback. They got dirt inside of them quickly. They hard to repair. This is actually a decent keyboard. I wouldn't say it's the best one. I still prefer like the Pixelbook Go keyboard, but it's a great keyboard.
Yeah, these keyboards, they're pretty nice. There's nice space in between it, nice travel. It's good. It's a lot, like way more feedback than the previous versions.
I like the placement. The arrow keys are placed well. They're small, but you know they're good. They brought back the escape key for you escape key fanatics. They have a physical Touch ID.
How do you like that? Did you like the Touch ID for access?
It's all right. I mean, you know, you unlock your laptop with it, and you had Google Pay with it. It's a cool feature to have. Now the touch bar, that I could care less about. Like the way I have it configured is just with volume buttons, brightness buttons, sleep button. Like maybe I'm not using it right, but I'm not a big fan of the touch bar. During
the time that I was using the laptop, I found no use for it, to be honest. Yeah. If there were physical keyboard keys in there instead, I would. Yeah, it was the same thing.
It's the same thing. Like I said, maybe I'm not using it right. If you guys use it as a different way that's useful to you guys, let us know in the comments down below. But for me, it's like, it's whatever.
I guess it looks nice for aesthetic purposes.
Yeah, it looks cool. Once you get over it though, it's like, okay.
The performance is ridiculous, even at a base level.
Yes, that performance. Like I said, this laptop is a workhorse. I mean, how did you have yours configured?
My configure was the base model. I initially, when I purchased it, I was supposed to edit a video shot on my iPhone 8 4K. It was on 4K, and I just ran into some issues and some problems with me porting the file over. I was using Adobe Premiere Pro. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you guys could give me the solution in comments below, but every time I uploaded my video onto the program, I just got a lot of drop frames, and I tried to find a solution on YouTube, but I couldn't find any. But
so you had the base. Mm-hmm. I had a 2.4 gigahertz 8-core i9. I had the AMD Radeon Pro 5500M, 4 gigabytes of GDDR6, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, and 1 terabyte of SSD storage. And this thing is so fast. Like it's.
But you was using Final Cut Pro.
I was using Final Cut Pro, so it was optimized for the laptop. So for reference, my Razer with a 1070 GTX 1070 on an external GPU was editing about the same kind of videos we're editing now. I was rendering them in about 30 minutes. This laptop, same videos, same size, about the same amount of effects, but on Final Cut, rendered it in about 5 to 7 minutes. So it's like 4 times faster than that, and that's ridiculous. Like the performance on this thing is great. The fans never turned on while I was using Final Cut. It turned on once while I was using Lightroom. I don't know why Lightroom is so strange so much compared to Final Cut, but that's the only time. And the fans, they're kind of loud, but like I said, it was only that one time. But performance-wise, this thing is a beast. Gaming though, I wouldn't game on this laptop. I was playing Tomb Raider on it. I benchmarked it, and on high settings, it was getting about 56 frames per second, and on ultra, it was getting about 33. Like I said, I wouldn't game on this.
But it's not meant for gaming. It's
not. Yeah. It's powerful enough to game, but I wouldn't game on it. Like, it's just, who games on a Mac? Like it's
Yeah.
stick to the PCs. If you're gonna game at with these numbers, 1080p 60, you might as well do it on a PS4 and wait for the PS5. This display is not a high refresh rate display. It maxes out at 60, so for gamers, it's not.
How was the battery performance while you were editing? Because for me, on regular use, I got 10 hours.
For regular use, I got about 8 to 10 hours, and that's music, web browsing, documents, texting, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was more than enough.
But once you start editing, that's when it starts to suck all the battery out. Like it was like 3 hours. Like I would have to connect it every 2 or 3 hours. So even with Lightroom as well. Like I guess the using the GPU really drains the battery quick. But it's still fine for regular usage. It's great.
Do you feel like with everything we just went through, you feel like the price is justified? Or what you're getting?
Well, my laptop, how much does your laptop cost?
$2,400.
Do you think it's justified at $2,400? For somebody, let's say the base model is for college students.
No.
No, right?
No, if you're a content creator and you're just getting in and you don't have the budget, and obviously I'm pretty sure that computer could render 4K. It's just I ran into some issues,
some hiccups.
Yeah, and I just feel like that would be a good entry model for somebody getting into creating content for heavier loads.
For like 1080p, let's say.
I think that's perfect. I think it's perfect. But what do you feel like? What about your higher end model ones?
So like I said, I named all the specs earlier. Mine came out to like 4,000 and some change. It's pricey, but I don't regret it because the way this thing works and it's so smooth, it's so fast. It saves me time. I think the way I configured it is probably the best way for somebody that's gonna
thinking long-term wise.
Long-term wise. They're editing in 4K, they know the way around Final Cut. YouTubers, I think this laptop is worth every penny. Like it's one of the best purchases I've made in a long time, and it doesn't hurt me at all. Like I have no buyer's remorse at all. Like I love this laptop. And I have mine configured the same way you do. It's like a Chromebook Fusion with I took away all the Apple apps because I don't use the iPhone, so I have all my Google apps lined up on the bottom, and it just works like beautifully.
For me, I just feel like if you're a college student, this is too much for you. You could settle for a Chromebook. Doesn't have to be the Pixelbook. A Chromebook is more than enough power for a student. But if you, like I said, if you're going into content and you're creating, yeah, the entry one is more than enough. Shooting at 1080p or even 4K.
Yeah.
I feel like that's more than enough.
This laptop is, I recommend it on all levels. Any way you want to configure it, if you can afford it, even for college students, like if you guys, you have the money to splurge, go ahead, man. This laptop, this is gonna last you 6 to 7 years, maybe even more. So you're not wasting your money here. This laptop is near perfect.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I wouldn't recommend it if you're not gonna use it for content creating. I can't recommend it in that sense, but everything else, if you're a content creator, go ahead. This thing, even at entry level, is a beast.
All right, guys, thank you for watching. That was our video. Please share with us your experience. If you guys have a new MacBook 16, let us know how you configured it, what it's like, any buyer's remorse, and if you recommend it.
And let us know if there's any products you would like for us to review.
And also, thank you for people that are subscribing and watching our videos. We highly appreciate it.
Thank you.